Hey everybody, welcome to another round of Canje Does Stuff on Saturday. So, how's it going? How's it going? Don't spill! Oh, I probably will. I'll probably make an awful mess. How's it going, everyone? We are here to do a very quick painting stream, and I say very quick, probably about an hour. It's not going to take more time than that, to be honest, but it's to show you how I do SunDrop on minis. This is not by any means the way to do SunDrop. I am not a pro. I am not a specialist in mini painting where my minis will win awards. Nope, they'll just look like color splotched good stuff on the table. But I want to just kind of showcase. This was a request by Sarah B, who asked, hey, can you show me how to SunDrop minis? Because I think I did one SunDrop on a mini and she liked how that looks, so she just wants. So I said, hey, I'll do a stream for people who care. So Sarah, this is for you. So before we get it, I just want to say thank you to my patrons, subscribers, and if you're neither, just coming in to hang out, thank you and welcome as well. We'll get down to the table immediately, just kind of cut into it so you can see how we do the thing. So let's get to the table. Okay, usually I stream with Brian, but this one's going to be a quick one. It won't be long at all to run through these. And this is the mini I'm painting. If you're like, I can't see that, it's just a black splotch. I'll be like, well, I got to be a black splotch. No, I'm kidding. I'm saying that this is one of the minis from Kings of Ruin, from Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin. This is one of the upgrade weird encounter minis. I can't for the love of me tell you who it is because I haven't played far enough to play that, but we'll see how it goes. Matthew, hey, I paid for the SunDrop on Lands of Earthshade and Story of Many. Would be nice to know how to do this myself. Yep. So you don't have to pay for that stuff anymore. So, hey, Mark, hey, Yogi, how's it going? Hey, Steve, don't spill. Make sure I won't. So we're going to get into this. What I've done here, just to kind of, because the minis don't come black, they come gray plastic. And what I've done is I have an air sprayer. Whether you have a regular rattle can or paint can that you use to spray paint to prime the mini, or you have an air sprayer. Personally, I prefer air sprayers. It's a thinner coat. You don't have to wait for the weather to be perfect outside for you to to do this. So an air sprayer works great. They're super cheap, but anyway, that's my preference. Do what works for you. And I'll hold it over this napkin so you can see like a better look of it. So I just primed this mini black. So when we're going to do this, you're going to prime your mini black. Just make sure it's fully dry. I did this right after the co-op chat this morning on Co-op Gill's channel, so go check that out. Great channel. And I just primed it, and it's dry. See, I could put my finger on it, and it comes out fantastic, so you don't have to worry about it, right? So once that's primed, you got everything you need. This is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 with the prime 5-step process to do SunDrop. And I say five step because these are the 5 things you're going to need. Number 1, prime your mini. If you're going to try what I'm about to do, prime it black. Okay, that's the first one. After you do that, you then get yourself some gray paint. I'm using the Army Painter War Paint Ash Gray. You don't have to use the Army Painter War Paints Ash Gray. Just find yourself a gray of this color to use for what you want. Whether you use Vallejo, whether you use Citadel, whether you use whatever, just get this gray, right? I'm sure there are comparison charts that'll tell you what's up there. You give this just a nice little shake. I have a shake thingy, but it makes weird noises that are pretty uncomfortable for anybody who's listening on stream. What's going on? So you just give this a nice little shake. Doop, 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 doop. And then thanks to Janet for giving me this Yon and John inspired pop thingy for paints. Because once the paint dries, you just pop the back of it like so. And the paint pops out, and then you have it to use again. So, and if the paint goes like this and it doesn't dry, if you use some isopropyl alcohol, it wipes right out. So this I highly recommend for people who are going to be paint minis, but you don't have to. You could use this napkin if you want. It doesn't matter. So don't rush out to say, hey, if I want to do SunDrop, I need to get this. You don't need to get this. It's just a nice to have if you're painting a bunch of minis. And you'll be using paint, right? So we do this. I'll pop this gray off. Just pour some in there. And we're going to grab our dry brush. I'm using the Nico Pro 5 style dry brush. You don't have to go out and buy the Nico Pro 5. Just get yourself a freaking dry brush. That's all you need. You just need something to dry brush the Mini. So we're going to add some water so it's not ridiculously dry it all off. As you can see, it's now easy to use and easy to brush with. I use it a lot, so the color is going to vary. Dip that be generous with it and dip that in, and then you're going to wipe it off. And you're going to wipe it off like you're going to dry brush this Mini. So I just wiped it off a little bit, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start making strokes on this Mini in the same motion, up and down, up and down, up and down. But what you want to do is you do not want to go down then back up. You just go down, lift, move, down, lift, move. So when you do it, it's going to be like this. So as you can see, I'm just going down on the Mini. I'm never going back up on the Mini. And you just cover the areas with that. And this is called dry brushing. Hey, look at that. You're dry brushing a Mini. Look at that. You're already a pro. And if you're like, oh, I need to get it perfect. Not really. I'll explain. You'll see what all this does, but you'll just give a good, nice dry brush all over the Mini for the gray. You want to capture everything you can. Everything that can be done. A lot of people will tell you, dry brushing is this technique where you have to use, you have to be gentle. You have to barely touch the Mini. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not pressing hard at all to get this on here. So don't feel you have to do that because you'll break your Mini. All I'm doing is just slightly tapping this on here. Dry brushing this stuff on to get this on there. Hacks! Yeah. No scoping. I'm no scoping this Mini. Ooh, this thing can easily break if you're not careful. This piece right here. This piece is super loose. That is super loose. Alright, then when you need to re-up some more, get it dry off a bunch. And then continue going. This should not take you long. I'm just kind of taking my time a little to get everything. When it comes to capes, I find that if I go up and down, it smears a little. So for the capes, I like to go side to side. Like, because if you go up and down on the capes, you'll get a weird smear. But if you go side to side, you'll get that look that you're looking for. And even on the ground, you want to get as much as you can reach on the base as well. And this is what it'll look like. I could do a little bit more over here. But I'm still only moving in one direction, no matter what direction. No matter where I turn, it's still only one direction. It's not up and down. Do not go back up when you do this. It is right out. It's just one direction down, and that's it. This one's going to be difficult. I don't want to break this. There we go. And in this corner here, good Lord, I'm probably going to snap this thing, I swear to God. It is horribly put together. There we go. Okay, so when I'm done, this is what it looks like. It looks like kind of like this weird stony feel, right, that you get on there. Like it's still, you're like, but it's still super grim. When do we get to the when are we going to see like the gains on what we're looking for? Well, patience, right? You just kind of, I'm just touching up a few things. Just touching up just quite a few things for you to see. But once I'm happy with how this looks. So once it looks like this, or you get it to a point where you still are seeing blacks for the shadows, but mostly it's kind of covered in this nice gray where things start to pop a little bit more. I mean, you can see here, this is popped a little bit. Let me see if I can let zoom in at all. Yeah, so you can see it kind of pop on whatever that is and on here. So you see that set. Once you get to what you feel is comfortable, because it's truly in the eye of the beholder, then you're done with gray. That's it. That's all you need for gray. Ash gray, done. Yeah, I probably will just probably take a screen of that, but that's what it looks like. And then you're done with ash gray. You don't need it anymore. You don't have to go between or mix. You just kind of clean off your brush, dip it in water, clean it off. Make sure to get all the gray residue as much as you can. You're never going to get all of it off, but make sure to get as much as the residue you can. Spin that brush, get all that gray off. And as you can see, it's clean, right? So it's clean, gray, done. Just grabbing another one because I use more of the gray than I thought I would. So that's gray. After you finish the gray, you kind of let this sit for a couple seconds because it's dry brush. It's not going to take a long time to dry. It really is not. So you just let it kind of sit here for a second. I look at the chat and answer some questions. So let me see if there's any questions. I'm definitely following your lead. I thought that was a stress ball popper. This reminds me of my Warhammer days. Yeah. Axe. 360 no scope. What you need is the before still image for when it was all black to see the complete changes you made. Way sexier. It's like magic. This is the beauty of the juicer. Okay, this is long enough. I don't need to do anything further than this. So the next thing I'm going to grab is I'm going to grab white. Right now, if you notice, this was my first paint set that I had, and I still have a bunch of white paint, but this is Vallejo white. It doesn't have to be Vallejo. It could be War Painter. It could be Citadel. Just a straight white paint that you want, right? So you're going to shake that up a little bit. Give myself a little bit of space here. Sean, what's going on? Thanks so much for subscribing. All right, so you shake that up, and then we're just going to grab some white paint. And this thing's almost out, but it should have, yeah, it has all the white paint I'll need. So grab some white paint, put it in there, and then guess what you're going to do with the white paint? The exact same thing, except with the white paint, you don't have to go as hard as you did with the gray. So with the white paint, you get a generous amount on there, rub it all off because you're going to be dry brushing. And then with the white paint, be very generous. This is the one when people talk about being light, be light, because this will happen. Notice as soon as I start doing the white, watch how it changes. Notice that the white smears very easily. So you got to go super light on the white. And I mean light on touch. Very light on touch. Because this will pull out those shadows. This methodology that you're watching me do here is what's called slap chop. This is the slap chop method that a lot of people do. So this is what you would do right before you speed paint a mini. But this is the part where you're like, oh yeah, I see it. I see it changing to what I'll need to do to speed paint. And then remember, I go sideways on capes, because it'll streak. And you just want to cover the mini as much as you can with this, because this is going to let the SunDrop really shine through. And you don't need a lot of white paint. Like you saw me use a lot of the gray. You really don't need a lot of white paint. The white paint just kind of you know, gets the gray really going. And then if you're just using speed paints, after this is where you start applying your speed paints to your mini. But you just get it all on there. And I mean, look at the cape. Look how the cape came out with the white when you dry brushed. Like, it looks nice and textured, right? It looks really nice and textured. The shadows, the gray plays in with the white that kind of comes off the top. So it comes off really, really nice. And like I said, this is called the slap chop method. If you need to do just a smidge more, which I think I just need a little bit more on this thing here. Your purists will probably swear you, painting purists will probably swear you off of doing things like this. I'm not a painting purist. I'm somebody who wants to play a board game and not spend hours painting a mini. But listen to them. They know a lot more about painting than I do. This is just my method, and do what works for you. There you go. Right? Yeah? Hey, throw money at it and do what works for you, man. This is just a money saver for me when I don't want to spend a ton of, you know, that there's an extra cost to SunDrop. If you can afford it and you got that discretionary income, go all out. Save yourself some time. But if you do not, and you're like, you know, I got some paints that I purchased and I can use them for this, use them for this. There you go. Done. So this is the mini now. Oop, over here. This is the mini now, which is what's called the slap chop method, where it has where it's been prime black, then dry brushed gray, then dry brushed white. And this is where you get, now it's perfectly primed and ready for speed paints. But we're going to do a little bit. So this is step 3 of the 5-part step that you can get. Exactly, Brad. Exactly. It's speed paint over regular paints because instead of taking 5 years to paint Marvel United, it'll take you a couple months. So it's the way to go, personally, in my opinion. I prefer speed paints. I probably would have quit painting, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for speed paints. I started with regular paints. I loved how they were, but they were so freaking time consuming. And there are people who love it. I'm not gonna knock regular painting, but speed painting just won over for me because I just need to make it table ready. I'm not trying to win any competitions or anything like that. I just want to get it done. So boom, done, right? Then we let it dry because it's a dry brush. It should go fairly quickly. So let's look at the chat. So Deluxe White, yeah, you like it? Yep. If the game does not offer SunDrop minis, then I will totally do this. But if it does, I'm going to just throw money at it. Yep. Looks great. That looks enough for me. Yeah. Even if you just do this to all your minis, then you're like, boom, table ready. You're good, right? I did quit until Citadel Contrast, then picked up Army Painter Speed Paints. Yeah, the contrast paints and the speed paints are the way to go, personally, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I think painting is fun and relaxing. When Kaman sends me a Kickstarter with over 500 minis, I don't want to spend that much time painting. I'd rather play the game. So speed paints work. Okay. While we're doing this, I need to do my mixture for my SunDrop. Now, this comes with, if you have the base, just the base like speed paints, because it will be a speed paint I'm adding to this. If you have the base speed paints, then you're all set to go, because you only need 2 colors What black primer that I used? I have an air sprayer, and I just use I bought some cheapy black primer off of Amazon. There's no special name for it. There really isn't. It's just some cheapy black primer for my air spray can, for sure. So that's this. Now, if you this is the important, these last two steps are the important parts of your SunDrop. Once you get this slap chopped, which is what this looks like, and if this is enough for you and you're ready to hit the table with what you got. Congratulations, you've just learned something. For if you want to go to the SunDrop, you're going to need a mixture. What's that mixture look like? It's simple. It's these two colors. So Sand Golem in Army Speed Painter and Darkwood in Army Speed Painter. They're both in the 1.0 and 2.0 base sets. So you don't have to go, oh, I need to spend $500, which I saw Speed Painter's new all-in pack selling for, which is ridiculous. You just need the base core, and these are the two. Make sure that these two are in that base core. Sand Golem and Darkwood. If you're using Citadel or Vallejo or any of the other contrast paints, you need to find what's comparable to these two. I don't know what they are, because when I learned how to do this, luckily I had these two set. I've seen people use Null and Oil. Yeah, Sand Golem is one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know. $500 bargain. It's like 1.1 thousand here. I know, Yogi. It is crazy. But these are the two that you need. And the combination is a 1-for-1 drop, right? 1-for-1. So you'll do 1 drop of Sand Golem is 1 drop of Darkwood. So we're just going to spin. We're not going to need a lot of it, because we're going to slather this mini with this stuff. Like, we're just going to completely cover the mini with this. So we'll shake them up. Yeah, a lot of people will have these if you have the Army Painter Speed Paint base sets. They'll have these too. So you just give them a nice little shake. And we're going to do 4 and 4, right? 4 and 4. And when I say 4 and 4, you're like, what does that mean? It means 4 drops of each. So in here, first let me make sure that this is drying well. Yeah, it looks like it is. Yeah, it looks like it's drying well. They dry pretty quickly. So you shake these up, and you do 4 and 4. So I'm going to do 4 Sand Golem drops. And you're going to get some on your finger, and it's going to be okay. And I'm going to do 4 Darkwood drops. Oh, that took the entire thing. Why is it doing that now? Come on. There we go. I don't need you falling out. So let's push you back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you get 4 and 4. Yes, your fingers will get dirty. Take a little bit of water just on a brush, mix them all together, just a little, like a drop, and mix them all together. And then when they come, and then you'll be ready. So now I'm going to be using my Nico flat brush 0. This is kind of more for more coverage. You see it's a flatter head that's on there. If you can see there, it's like a flat head, so it's not a regular one that's on there. Do this. Just get the brush wet enough to be kind of movable. And then we're going to grab the mini, and you just cover the mini with this stuff. You don't try to be cute with it. Just cover the mini with it. I mean, don't when you slosh it on, spread it out. Otherwise, it's going to just be super dark. But you'll just doop. Just spread it out as much as you can when you're adding it on there. So what you don't want is you don't want pools of it somewhere, like it congealed somewhere, and it's just this thick layer of black soot. You don't want that. So you just do that. Spread it on over into all recesses of your mini. Right. Just cover the whole thing and just spread out all that paint. And you're like, well, that looks darker than regular. I know, calm yourself. We're not done yet. We got one more step, remember? We got one more step. Uh, so I'll get to the chat questions in 1 second because we need to let this dry. That's when I'll look up and start answering all questions you have. So if you have questions, let me know. I'll answer as best as I can. But if you're saying, "Oh yeah, I see it," you have not seen it yet. Trust me. We have the last step is what adds that SunDrop magnificence to this mini. The last step is what brings it all together. Do all that. As you see, you'll run out. So this is a denser mini. So I'm going to have to just mix up some more 4 and 4. I usually just do 4 and 4 because it's the sweet spot of not running out. You know what I mean? Or should I say not having too much? It's the sweet spot of not having too much. Mix it up, add more of that, and then just keep on trucking. Spread it on out. The last one is the thing that brings the whole shebang home. So you cover it up. If you've come this far, you're committed. You're committed. You're all in. Like we talked about this morning, you're at the all-in pledge of Canje's Canje SunDrop class. You're at the all-in pledge. There's no backing out now. You've covered the mini. You're like, this doesn't look like anything like what you promised. You've lied to me. I'm like, hang on, lighten up, Francis. It's gonna be okay. Trust me. It's all gonna work out. This down here so that then I could do this. Just cover the entire mini, toe to head, head to toe. Oh yeah, shipping's gonna be terrible. You're the all-in pledge of SunDrop at this point. Just cover the entire thing. I don't think I missed anything, but let me check. Right here, just get in there. And get this little hidden spot. Flip your mini to make sure. Because when I first did this, I was like, oh, this looks so cool yet bad. This was a mistake. And then after I did the final step, I was like, oh no, it worked. It actually works out in the end. Do all that and all that. Okay, so the mini's covered and it's gonna look like this. All right, so let me dry off this brush. I'll let this dry and then I'll check the chat, because this is all you need, one and done paints. So we do all that. Get as much of make sure your brushes are clean. There we go. All right. So your mini will look like this. Your mini will look like this. It's like, well, it has that sort of SunDrop feel, but it doesn't look SunDrop. And you would be right, because we're not done. But that's all you need is that sand yellow and dark wood. That's the mixture that gets the color, base color of the SunDrop that you want. We have one more step and then we're done. One more step. That will be a dry brush step. But we need to let this dry, so let me look at the chat. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know. All right, what do we got? What black primer did you use? I think I answered that one already. I've seen people use Nuln Oil. I've seen people use Nuln Oil as well. I thought about using the Nuln Oil when I first did this instead of doing that combo, but then I was like, Nuln Oil fixes everything, but not for this one. Not for this one. Sand Gold is one of my favorite. Yeah. It was your super strong. So you prime with rattle cans. So you prime with rattle can or a compressor airbrush? Thanks. So me personally, I prime with an airbrush. I don't use rattle cans anymore because in the lovely state, and I say lovely with the most amount of sarcasm I could throw at you, in the lovely state of North Carolina, the temperature is so wildly varied that there's never a perfect day, say for maybe 2 weeks out of the year, where temperatures align. I don't have a basement, right, where temperatures are regulated, so a rattle canning became an annoyance. And then they had that overspray for people who are new to rattle canning, and when people say rattle can, it's just the spray paint, the primer spray paint can that you shake up and it makes a rattle noise. But every time I would do that, I'd get like this burst pop on the Mini that just slathered it and ruined it, and I had to wipe it all off and then start over. So I switched to air sprayers for primers, and it's perfect. It's a super thin layer. It never goes wrong, and it doesn't care what temperature it is outside or inside your house. It's perfect. So I do a compressor airbrush. I want to rattle can prime a bunch of Cthulhu Death May Die minis, but it's too cold out. Exactly. Bah! And I do not want to invest in an airbrush. Airbrush setups for priming and for highlighting is like the bee's knees, man. I cannot say enough how much it made priming a ton of minis so worth it. Yeah, rattle cans are fine, but I use an airbrush. Exactly. How long does it take you to complete the average size mini? Let's do some comparisons. I painted, let's see, when Mark let me have his copy of Massive Darkness 2, I painted so this is a command one, and for Massive Darkness 2 for reference, I painted everything but one mob. I've painted all of the roaming monsters. I haven't painted the boss yet because I haven't gotten to the boss, but I've painted all the roaming monsters, and I've painted almost all but one of the regular mobs. And honestly, it took me about an hour and a half a day to do, and it took me about 3 days to do all of that, with about an hour and a half. The last mob took longer because I got particular. I started mixing between speed paints and other paints, but I say on average 7 mobs takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours with speed paint. So on average, that's how it is for speed painting. So seven of the exact same mobs, an hour and a half to 2 hours speed paint. The shipping to get your Canje to your house is expensive. Exactly. I really need to set up a painting station again. It's been almost 20 years since I painted a mini. I get it. Yeah, the speed paints dry really nice in a bit. Yeah, they will, and they will as we're going through this. It's drying now. It's not dry enough. I still see some wet spots, so we're just gonna keep chatting. But once this is done, there's just one more thing to do, and SunDrop is done. So we're almost there. We're at 4 of 5. We're moving on to the 5th step. ID Jester, hey Canje, and chat. Hope all is well. Good to see everyone. Hey, how's it going? My painting days is over. My eyes can't see anymore, which is why I went to speed paints. And the other thing that goes with regular painting is, as you're painting, the weird thing that happens, you're supposed to have this posture where you sit up and you sit ready. But for me, sometimes when I'm really getting into the detail, I start hunching over, and I get into this mode where I'm like hunching over, getting close to the mini to do these finite things, and my back gets super busted. So I think the speed paints help for a lot of that stuff. Yeah. So, but we can still paint SunDrop stuff, which really works out. It's still drying. I can see it's still drying, but we're almost there. I got to stand it up so it doesn't bleed on the table. Have you played Earth Under Siege with Steve, Derek? I forget. Yes, I did. I played one mission where Kim and I snuck into and killed sleeping people while Steve was turning off the alarm. It's not a game for me, but it's a game that I would always play with. If Steve is like, let's play Earth Under Siege together, I'd play it with him, but I will never own it because I won't play it solo, because I don't think you can. I think you got to control more than one character. I'm curious about cost to start. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that. I'll pull up a window and go to Army Painter's site so you can see the cost of these things, and we'll run over the costs of what you'll have to spend to start. I painted season 1 of Marvel United 85 minutes in a month. Oh, 85 minis. Sorry, I was like 85 minutes. Wow. 85 minis in a month. Not painting every day and only about 90-minute sessions. Yep, you are right on, Brad. Speed paints are the way to go. Yeah, you have to two-hand. Yeah, Earth Under Siege isn't for me. I'm going to stick to some other games that are coming for me, for sure. Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, for sure. You can solo that bad boy. I have Cthulhu Death May Die finally delivered season, and I backed the next season, so more Cthulhu Death May Die coming. Nemesis Retaliation I'm looking forward to. I still have not played, and I'm a huge fan of Hexplore. I've played 1 through 3 on the table, and I started the Clix Madness stuff, but I have not played Domain of Mirrors and Noctis Episode 4 ever, and I need to play that game because everybody's telling me that's better. I'm a Forza Adramon fan, and people are saying that Domain of Mirrors and Noctis is way better, so I'm looking forward to playing it. And then 5 is coming, which is the Mountains of Gazai, which I want to play. So there's Nemesis, Explore It, Cthulhu Death May Die, Aeon's End, Marvel United, which I'm playing on the channel. Final Girl Season 3 is coming. Dice Throne, Outcasts, and Dice Throne X-Men are coming. So these are things that are kind of on their way to delivery presently. I've got Tidal Blades 2 that I haven't painted and I need to play. I still need to get back to Kinfire at some point. Someone told me that I would like G.I. Joe, the deck building game, so I have it. I need to play it. Man. And then I've got Spirit Island. I promised Steve that I would play it, so I need to play Spirit Island. Zerewia I have still because I got the stuff that I missed from the first one because I really do like that game. The rule book was trash, but I really do like the game. So when that delivers, I'm waiting as well as you're waiting. So it's not like I had some deal. I paid for it with my money. So I'm waiting. When that comes in, I'll play. There's another game. Oh, that's the other one. I need to somehow figure out how to play Kanban EV because everybody's like, hey, play some Kanban. So I gotta play that. There's so much stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm inundated with games and not enough time. But those are things that I want to get done this year. I want to play them at least once this year. So, and if Earthborn Rangers delivers, we're spitting that up. I love Earthborn Rangers. I love that game. I beat it. I continued playing until I beat it, and I think the story was done. There was more story and more things to discover, but the overall story was complete. And I was like, I need more. And they have more coming. So as soon as Earthborn Rangers delivers their next stuff, I'm all over that. Like, you probably might, when I say that I'm not Cult of the New, I'm not. But when that game delivers, all of the games are stopping and I'm going to Earthborn Rangers just to set, if someone's like, hey, I'm really loving you playing this game X, I'm like, sorry, Earthborn Rangers delivers. When I beat that, I'll go back to the other game. So that's kind of where I am with it. I love Earthborn Rangers. I'm so glad to see this video. I don't see me using it for bulk miniature games, but it would be great for boss battles. Yes, Cybermage. That is kind of its purpose. That's its purpose. Excited for Elder Scrolls, my first Chip Theory game. This will be it'll be the first one that I'm keeping because I love Victorum, but with Elder Scrolls, it's more Victorum, but with Elder Scrolls, so I called Victorum for that. So it will be the first game that I keep as well. How about some Sentinels of the Multiverse? Play some of that. I'm interested in that game, but you can't true solo it, and that's where it fails for me because it's every character's the one thing. If you want a complete failure of Canje or of Derek, is tell me to play a game where I play different characters, two to three characters, and all of them are different. I will mess up rules worse than I usually do. I will get things wrong. I will miss things. People will say my channel sucks. Like, it's just, unless those characters are completely homogenous, like the exact same, doing things more than two players for me is very, very difficult. That's just me. People like Yogi Four Hands, Arkham Horror, the card game. But Yogi is a pro, right? I am not that guy. I can't do it. So Sentinels of the Multiverse, you have to multi-hand it. Every character is different. If there was a solo mode, I would try Sentinels of the Multiverse. If there was a true solo mode. If you have time, you can show your airbrush painting station. I'd like to do it, but afraid to get paint everywhere indoors. It's down on the floor. I'll take a picture of it. I'll take a picture of it for you to see, but it's down on the floor. Just finished the MD2 Heavenfall campaign. Lots of fun. I think Sleeping Gods is the next campaign game to start. Cool. Let me know what you think of Sleeping Gods. I want to do the MD2 Heavenfall. I just saw that as I was playing the regular game, you saw I was getting small slight rules, or I was getting comments like, hey, you're playing inefficiently. And I was like, I don't want to play efficient. I don't want to play a game efficiently. I just want to play a game. Yeah, if it delivers this year, it's on. What airbrush for someone that's never done airbrushes? I have, goodness. I'll put a link in the, I will link all that in the, Azariel, I'll link all that in the description for you to grab. The airbrush I use, the paints. We'll go look at the website of the paints to see how much those cost. I'll do the primer that I use so you can see it all. It wasn't that expensive for me. You're going to live in Iridia. You're going to live in Iridia when you get your copy. Oh, Janet, don't tell me that, Janet. Don't tell me that. Okay, so Janet's on the West Coast, right? Janet's amazing. She's on the West Coast. She got her copy of Iridia. East Coast people have to wait until mid to late, late January, early February to get their copies, which that's where I am. Everyone has been telling me Iridia is a me game. Like, they're like, this is a Derek game. You will love this game. And Janet, I trust everything Janet says about board gaming. She knows what I like. And she's like, if I will like this game, I believe her. And I'm like, oh, now that raises my like excitement to want to play this game. It's going to be incredible. My throwaway game at the moment when I don't have anything new is Journeys in Middle-earth. Yeah, I know you like that game a lot. Yeah. Season 3 of Final Girl should be out soon too. No, I don't. 2 hands only. 4 hands would be insane. I thought you've done a 4-hand play. Or was that Kate? Was that Kate that did that? Oh, it's my most played game, so the overhead is very low. My defaults for Sentinels is 4 heroes and 1 villain solo. And for me, it plays great, but I hear what you're saying about how it can be difficult. Yeah. Damn it, Janet. Yeah, I want that so bad. Okay, how are we looking? Just a little bit longer. The speed paint's almost dry. I can see on the cape there's still a little bit. Because what we need to do, the mini needs to be dry for what we need to do. And just a little bit longer and it'll be done. A little bit longer. While we're doing this, let's take a look while this is drying. Let's look at the speed paint stuff. So let me pull up a browser. This one should be good. And let me go to Army Painter. So you can see the speed paint stuff. And let me share my screen here. It's this one. Properties. And we're going to Army Painter. And we're clicking OK. And then we're popping this up. Okay, so if we go to Army Painter's site, and I'll put this over here because my head's going to be turned sideways. If we go to Army Painter's site, and we look at the different Army Painter sets that are on here, right? These are just regular paints or speed paints. You're going to want to go to Shop, and then you want to go to Speed Paint, right? So when you go there, it's going to pop these up. Cool. There's these different sets that you can have and buy to your leisure. Remember, you're trying to find the one with Darkwood and Sand Golem. I think this is the one that has that. Let me check. Grim Dark, Violet Bone. Because I get, when they first announced their speed paint, so there's Dark Wood right there. So this one doesn't have Sand Golem in it. So you might have to buy them separately, or... Did they raise the price on this? That sucks. That sucks. I get why they did it. It sucks. So Sand Golem not in any of these? Ugh. I haven't been here in a while. I think this is the one I bought, but it wasn't $275. This is nuts. I guess because a lot of people were getting it, they just kind of upped their price. Yuck. That is crappy. You can buy the individual colors, which are down here, but I'm looking for the box set. So what's their worst box set? I think it's this one. Yeah, this is their $450, $460. You can kick rocks. This has Sand Golem and Dark Wood in it, but if you're not gonna get into speed painting, please don't buy this. Just come out here, come down to this area here, and what's this guy? Yeah, this is Sand Golem. So for this one, this is what you need. Sand Golem, it's $5. Go on Amazon, it's probably cheaper. But it's $5 for you to get the Sand Golem stuff on here. It tells you what Sand Golem looks like. That's the primer if you want to prime from theirs. So that's Sand Golem, and then the other one is Dark Wood. You usually could tell by the label sometimes. Wow, thank you. Thank you. I don't care about your promotion. How about stop ripping people off? Let's see. That's Dusk Red. Anyway, they got a ton of colors. I'm just scrolling through here to show you how many colors they have. This Rigor Mortis is a nice color. Maggot Skin is a nice color when you're painting orcs. Did I pass that? I probably passed. I'll go search it. Yeah, I passed it. Here's the other one. And this is the other one. There's Dark Wood, $5. So $10 for what you need for your speed paint mixture. $10. Then you can look at just any ash gray, and I think ash gray. Yogi, thank you so much for your Sand Golem. Thank you. For your regular painting, we could do ash gray. And here it is. Ash gray, a freaking $1.87 for ash gray. So far we're at $6.87 for what you need for this. And then we'll search for white. Just regular old white paint. Just regular A matte white. That's this guy. There you go. Regular A matte white paint, which is $4.25. So what were we at? So now you're at $10, $11 and some change ish right now. $11 and some change, and you have what I've been doing so far. The last one is you're gonna have to find a comparable one, but I would highly recommend you get the specific paint, and we'll go to that site when that comes up. So how are we looking? Okay, we're looking good. Okay. Let's put this back over here because I'll need this space. Okay, the last paint, the final thing that you'll need is this. Pro Acryl. This is by Monument Hobbies. This paint is incredible. This is the thing that you will see transform this into SunDrop. Yellow ochre is the color. Pro Acryl paint, right? We'll go to this website after. Well, we could go there real quick so I could show you that one. Janet was the one that introduced me to Pro Acryl at Gen Con, where I made a horrible mistake. Janet, I don't know if you remember that, or I made a horrible mistake. I took the cap off and I shook it. So paint went everywhere. This one. There we go. All right, so if you go to Monument Hobby site, it's a convoluted mess. But what you want to go is you want to go to their search for That's how you spell yellow in my country. Let's see. Boom. This stuff. That's what you need. $4.65. So we're what were we at? We're at 11. So let's say we're at about $16 for SunDrop. $16 for SunDrop. Keep that in mind. So this is what you need, right? I since Gen Con, I invested in them, and I love Pro Acryl. If you are, I love Pro Acryl, because even if you're a speed painter, you can use this to highlight, and it looks incredible. This is just like top of the line. You get more for your money in this. So Pro Acryl, this is the finale for what you need to SunDrop. This brings it all together, this yellow ochre. All right, so you're gonna shake this up. Give it a good shake with the cap closed. With the cap closed, you shake it up. And then you open it up, and how you open it up is you just twist the cap and it's open. Then I just pour what I need in here. You do this, and then you just blot, and that's it. That's it. It comes like all together. So this is the color that I'm gonna need to bring it together, right? Let me grab this, wipe this off. Okay, we're just dry brushing again. We're back to dry brushing. So we're gonna get a bunch. We're just gonna get that, dip in here, wipe it off. And then this is the nice lathered, this is the nice light movement that the pros tell you about. And I'm quiet because I'm focusing. So just watch it happen. Because I have to do super light strokes on these. Once I get some more off this brush, I can go a little bit more wild. I hate that this thing's so loose. Usually when you first do the dip, it becomes like there's a lot on there and you don't want it. So I try to find an area that can use a lot, and then I come back and do the rest. And then you see I'm starting to speed up here because I got the coverage I want. It's light enough on here that I can do this out. and just kind of do my, this is basically me spreading. And you just get wherever you can. Like those recess areas are really tough, but you can get there. Even on the ground. You want to make sure you get the ground because some of these minis have really great textured grounds that you want to make sure you capture. And honestly, you just go until you see you feel it. You see what you like. And if you've gotten to that color that you like with this ochre color, you're done. But this is what shines it out from that mixture. That mixture kind of gives that nice undercoat. And this puts the rest out. What do you think? What do y'all think? So what do y'all think? How do you think it looks? And I have a SunDrop mini that I'm going to compare this to. One that I did not paint. So you can tell me your preference. I mean, you might say, hey, that they still look better, good effort, or you might say this one looks better. It's completely up to you. This is up to you to determine which one works best for you. But this is the quote unquote, this, as some people say, which I hate when they say, the secret sauce. There's no secret sauce. This is what it is. Anybody can do this. It's perfectly fine. Okay, that's it. Look at that. So I'm gonna hold this up for you to see, for all to see. Look at that. There's your SunDrop. There it is. There's your SunDrop mini. And when this dries, it seals it to where it's it actually really brings off that vibrant color. So here is a SunDrop. This is the SunDrop I did. And this is Awaken Realm SunDrop. So if you want to get even lighter, all you have to do is dry brush a little bit more. You, instead of using the ochre, the highlights. And you just, to highlight, all you have to do is dry brush. All you have to do is dry brush a light brown lightly to do it. But this is as far as I go. If you're like, hey, I want to bring out even more and get it to this level here, right, of this type, all you have to do is now get like a little bit of a lighter brownish yellow and lightly dry brush on that, and it will turn into that exact color. This color here that they have for this, actually, this isn't even SunDropped. This isn't even SunDrop. You know what? This is a prototype. This is a prototype of Lands of Evershade. And this isn't SunDrop. They just put, I know exactly what color they put on here. So, but you get to choose between the ones that you want. And when you finish, this will get like a nice bronze. Like Zara was saying, if you want some highlights, you could do something like this. Hell, let's screw with this a little bit. Let's mess with this a little bit. If you want some highlights, check this out. I'm going to show you how to SunDrop highlight to get yourself a little bit of lighter color. I'm going to mix this and this together to make that color. And then I'll take this color that's here. It's a little bit lighter. And then all I have to do is just lightly in specific areas. Just take the white and the other one, and then just lightly brush one brush random all over the areas. Don't cover a space you've already gone to. And just lightly cover it. Like, just mix the ochre jelly and the white together. You don't have to get another color. And then just run over that with this. Just in a few spots. And boom. Look at that. And then there you go. There's your SunDrop. There you go. There's your SunDrop Mini. It's a lot lighter than the ochre because I basically said, okay, I'm going to just take a drop of white. I'm running out. Ugh, I must be seriously running out. There you go. Just like one drop of white. Grab how much ever is left over of here and just mix it all together to make this base that's like a little bit of an offshoot color. So I'm still working within the same color palette. I'm not going outside that. Grab this, rub it off, and then just lightly, just bink, bink, bink. Get your highlights in where they work. And that gets you your highlights that you need on the items. Actually, this looks way better. I'm glad I just did this. New discovery. There you go. And there's your highlights. Look at the highlights look at the back of this. See how I got the robes looking like that? I did it for the banner as well, so there's a little bit more white than dark, so it fades, so you see that depth of color. And then there you are, a SunDrop Mini, all done. Boom, done and done. That's your SunDrop Mini. That's how I SunDrop Minis. When this dries, you'll see it kind of get that nice, solid SunDrop feel color, and then you're done. So, colors that I use and colors that you'll need. Will you need to buy everything? No. Dark wood, oopsies, I'll put this over here to dry. Dark wood, sand golem, some form of white, ash gray, pro acryl, yellow ochre. That's all you need the SunDrop. That's it. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. And so we determined that these two together are 10. This is like the gray, I think the ash gray was like $1.50. So let's say that's $11.50. This was about 7, I think, right? So that's 18, and then this was 5. So for how much you pay for SunDrop, compare that to that price, and you just doing this yourself. Because there it is. There's SunDrop. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Done, done, done. Yeah, this one that I have isn't even SunDropped. I think what they did was they mixed a leather brown and the white with a dark prime, and they just slathered it on there and said, here you go, this is your game. Compare this, and I'll take a photo. So if you actually have a SunDropped, if you actually have purchased SunDrop before, I would love for you to compare it to what you see here, an actual released final copy SunDrop, and see how they compare. If they compare pretty decently, they won't match one for one. You'll have to play with these two colors to get it to what you want. But if they match perfectly, there you go. SunDrop. Save yourself some money. $20, maybe $22, maybe, to SunDrop all your minis and do it like put on a TV show like Law and Order SVU and SunDrop your minis. Save yourself some money. Save yourself a headache. So let's see what we're seeing here. Ooh, lots of comments. I love lots of comments. Oh god, I'm buying pure white for my walls, but get my matte white for minis. I guarantee it. Yeah, Janet remembers when I made that mess. Their white is great. Pro, I wish. Are their metallics any good? Yes. Yes, I love their metallics. I use their metallics for the speed paint metallics. I've used that for Massive Darkness. So if you go on in the Canje Studios Instagram, you'll see metallics. I've used metallics there, so you'll be able to see that. I usually use their regular paint metallics from Marvel United because it's supposed to be a little bit more vibrant. But you can dry brush to get to that if you want. But the metallics work great. Dropping some sun. Better than gray, exactly. Looks just like the Awakened Realm SunDrop. Nicely done. Thank you. Looks great, minus some highlights at key points. Yep. And those highlights happen. You saw I just did them, so they look good. Now we know how the sausage is made. Oh no, he's thinking. This is like when Derek decides to re-roll dice. Yeah, it's never good. Derek, would you alter the SunDrop minis if they came in and you were not satisfied with them? Yeah, because all the SunDrop is they do this form of effect, Matthew. They do this form of effect, but then they seal it with a varnish. But that's just so the paint won't slush off. If you don't like how your SunDrop came in from whatever game that you purchased your money on, all you have to do is prime black over that varnish and then redo everything that I just did and then prime it again in varnish, and that's it. So yes, you can redo it if you want. Oh, that's why the mini is familiar. You have a prototype of Lands of Evershade. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So I have a question though. Since the Sand Golem Dark Oak was so dark in color, why did you need to do that base with the gray dry brush? Wasn't it totally covered? Yeah, the reason why I did that, perfect Cybermage, good question. Love it, love it, love it. When you prime black, you're saying, so when you don't slop chop, you have to do something called zenithal highlighting. So you'll prime it a color, and then you have to prime it a lighter color to do sunlight effects, right? But that sunlight effect also gives the illusion at the back of having shadows. So one part of the mini has light. So it's like, let's say you have a mini of me in heroic pose looking up at the sky, and you will have to zenithal highlight where I'm looking. So this part gets lighter while the rest of it stays the same color, which gives off a shade of shadow. And then you would use after you finish painting, you would use something like Nuln Oil to really pull that shadow out more. For the method that I did, instead of zenithal and Nuln Oil, I did what's called the slap chop method, which is prime it black. I do grays to distinguish between the black and the gray for shadows, and then I do the white to distinguish between light, dark, and shadow. And so that's what that does. So then when I add the dark wood and the sand golem, that speed paint's very thin, right? So all it does is it seeps into those crevices and seeps into those shadows and kind of gives a tinge of the color I want while still being in shadow. So think of it like, you know, when we talk about light hitting something, light hits something and everything that's kind of directly behind it's in shadow, but you can still see color, right? So behind me, if you were to look behind me and light's hitting me here, I'm still wearing a green jacket, a green sweater, but you need to know it's still green. So while the shadows are still here, the speed paint seeps into that color so you still get the same color, but it's still considered shadow. Hopefully that makes sense. So when I did that, I slap chopped it so to make it ready for the speed paint, giving that shadow gradient. And then when I added what I wanted, when I added that color of dark wood and sand golem, it gave the color of what I wanted, so that when I dry brushed, you can see that, okay, yes, that is in shadow, but it's the color of what I want. Hopefully that makes sense. Where you brush your color with a lighter tone by transparency. Yeah, there, Azariel said it in a shorter method than what I said. Yes. I think you already answered my question. Okay. Any brand yellow ochre, or will any brand work? Any brand works. Any brand of the yellow ochre works. I just prefer Pro Acryl because their paint is just so good. Like, it's thick, it sticks. You don't need to use multiple layers of things if you're just using regular paints. Like, I love Pro Acryl. I think that whoever Monument Hobbies did a great thing with this. You get more paint for your buck, and the paints are richer. They're thicker. So whereas some paints you apply and then you got to go back and apply it again, and then you got to go back and apply it again. I think I've only had to, the worst case scenario, I've only had to do twice with Pro Acryls because they're just so, they just adhere so well to the Mini. Yeah, so you don't need that brand. You can just get any yellow ochre and it should be fine. The AR SunDrop is, in my opinion, lazy and overpriced. After all this, I'm paying for the SunDrop. Don't worry about it. Do what works for you. This just works for me. And as I can see, as it's drying, it's actually getting lighter. So it's really nice. I love speed paints for sure. I have a number of the Pro amazing stuff. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so basically a quality of paint sort of thing. Yes, this is a quality of paint. But for the SunDrop that you want to do, I just stick with them because I have it and it worked. But you just need the yellow ochre color, whatever the comparison is for that. And if you're not using speed paints, find the comparison of Sand Golem and Darkwood for your speed paint that you're going to use. Find your comparison for ash gray. This is not a speed paint. This is regular ash gray. And then any white will do. White is white is white is white is white, right? Any white will do. It does not matter. So yeah, as you can see, it's drying and it's getting lighter as it dries. So you're really getting, I mean, I love how this turned out. This looks fantastic. And now I'm done. All I have to do is varnish it and I'm done. With talking and everything, this didn't take too long. And what you can do if you have a bunch of minis, assembly line them, prime them all black, right? Dry brush them all gray. By that time, the first one's dry. Dry brush them all white. By that time, the first one's dry. Sand Golem, Darkwood, all of them. By that time, the first one's dry, and then yellow ochre, all of them. And by the time you hit the end, the first one's dry, and you're done. So, yep, that's that. When you're well into painting, you will learn that every paint brand has different tones, and you start playing with those tones. A real Pandora's box. Yep, you're absolutely right. Jed said, any thoughts in Lands of Evershade? Are you going to make a playthrough video of it? Yes, I am. That's the reason. Someone was kind enough to send me their prototype. It was not Awaken Realms. I've asked Awaken Realms to, hey, I don't have 50,000 subscribers. I'm just the channel who likes to play board games, and I love your games. Can I preview them? And Awaken Realms has not responded. I'm not knocking them for that. I'm just saying I think it's more, they probably look for channels with the numbers, and I'm not that guy. So yet I will dominate the world at some point, but I'm not that guy presently. So therefore they probably look to channels who can do that stuff. But a friend of mine who is one of those channels was saying they sent me their copy, and I am going to play Lands of Evershade. And I want to play it before I want to play it either before or during when late pledges open, so that people who didn't back the game can really see the game and see if they want to back it. So yeah, there you go. But yes, that's my plan, is to do a playthrough video. I just flushed my 40 bucks down the toilet. Yeah, so that's it. That is SunDrop. So if you want to know how to do it, there you go. And like I said, as it's drying, you're seeing that those bright colors, like this is where my sunlight is for Zenithal people, is coming from. And as you can see, it's really coming through on there. And the shadows, the highlights on the cape. Look at the highlights on the cape. It's just coming out so well. You can actually see the texture. I mean, this is the stuff I love about painting. You can actually see the texture in the cape through the SunDrop. Look at that, the texture of the print coming through the SunDrop, even on the cape with these highlights on the folds. Like, you can see all that stuff, and it looks so good. I really love this. I love that, like, I stumbled upon this and was like, oh, this is how you do it. I managed to talk myself out of Lands of Evershade. I'm the opposite of you. When I started, I was like, I'm out. By the time I did my finished research with it, I'm like, oh, I'm so in. Oh, I'm all in. I actually went all in on Evershade. If you wanted it to look green or red, you just swap something different for that yellow. Yes. Would you need to change up the base colors? No. If you want to go, it depends. I guess, Aaron, it depends on what you mean. I probably need more information. I think if you want to, if you give me an example of a SunDrop effect that you want, personally, you still can go with this to get that SunDrop dark, and then your highlight to bring out this color would be different. However, why do all that when you can switch these two and then have a different color set to bring it out? So you can go either way with it. So it all depends on what you're looking for. I'm not going to say a definite yes. I'll say it depends on what you're looking for. Do you then matte varnish? Yes, I matte varnish this. Yep, that is correct. And I use a matte varnish. I think my matte varnish is from Vallejo. It's just a big bottle of matte varnish, right? I looked for the cheapest one I can find, and it had Vallejo matte varnish. I'm so likely to go all in if you play it. I'm weak. Oh, it's gonna be so good. With more experience, you can also change the color of the base coat. Yeah, see, Azariel's got it. So it all depends on what you're going for. But if you're going for just the regular SunDrop effect that people love to just kind of do real quick and get to the table, this will do just that. It'll do just that, and it'll work for you perfectly. But yep. All right, cool. Woo, that was fun. That was fun. Second verse, same as the first. Okay. So it is complete. It is ready. I will matte varnish this, and it'll be done. Right? It'll be done. I will link in the description the links to all the I will put a direct link to all the paints individually that you'll need to do this. And because I know the question was asked, I will put in I'll put in a link to the air spray compressor that I have, and a link to the black primer. And that's it. That's all you need. Happy-go-lucky. I think my problem is that AR games is like, I like our normal Kings of Ruin key matching combo, whereas Evershade's closer to easy mode Kings of Ruin sort of gameplay. It's dice chucking. Yeah, it's a Evershade's a D&D feel of it. It's sort of, I think. Story first. Yes, it's story first. Yep. but you're not gonna burn your brain. Well, so far, yeah, it's story. It's story rich. All right, cool. Well, that's going to be it for this. Hopefully you enjoyed this and it was helpful. I will post a picture of this when it fully dries and I've matte varnished it on the Canje Studios Instagram, and you can just look and see what the final outcome of this is and then be good. And yeah, cool. So what's coming up tomorrow? Tomorrow is going to be Mage Night. And then Tuesday will be the lunchtime stream and some other game that I have not picked yet. And then Thursday, Pac-Man is to be back for us continuing our Aeon's End playthrough, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, if you have any questions or any comments about this or any advice, go ahead and put it in the comments section below. And that's going to be all for today. So until tomorrow, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Bye, everybody.